Betrayed by blood. I trusted my brother more than anyone else on this earth. I believed he would shield me, guide me, and stand beside me no matter what came our way. But one night, something happened that shattered my heart into pieces. He looked at me with eyes I couldn't read, and by the next morning, my life was never the same again. Why did he do it? What secret was hiding behind that smile of his? Stay with me until the end, because this story still haunts me. My name is Emma. I was 19 when everything I believed about family fell apart. I grew up with my older brother, Nathan, in a small rented house where we shared everything: meals, secrets, even our fears. He was 5 years older than me, tall, steady, and I trusted him more than I trusted myself. I believed he would always protect me. Life had a cruel way of proving me wrong. It started on an ordinary Tuesday night. I heard him whispering into his phone in the hallway. His voice was low, shaky, but clear enough for me to catch fragments. Words like cash asterisk, deal asterisk, asterisk tonight asterisk. My heart pounded in my chest. Why would my own brother be speaking like a stranger plotting something dangerous? The next morning, Nathan acted like nothing had happened. He smiled over breakfast, asked if I wanted more coffee, joked about the weather. I studied his eyes, searching for a crack, a flicker of guilt. But he looked calm. Too calm, like a man hiding a storm behind a perfectly painted smile. Later that day, I followed him without telling him. He walked 3 blocks to a diner on the corner of our street and met 2 men in dark jackets. They shook hands quickly, and an envelope passed between them under the table. I couldn't see what was inside, but the way Nathan tucked it into his coat pocket made my hands tremble with doubt. That night, I confronted him directly. "Nathan, who were those men?" He froze for a second, then laughed it off, said they were just old friends from work. But something in his voice sounded hollow, like a story built on shaky ground. I wanted to believe him. Then his phone buzzed again, and he left the room in a hurry. I felt like a stranger in my own home. While he was out, I searched his drawer. I found papers covered in numbers, unfamiliar names, and strange symbols. My hands shook as I realized my brother was hiding something far bigger than I ever imagined. The days that followed were heavy with silence between us. Nathan started coming home late, his clothes smelling like smoke and money. He brushed off my questions with the same line: "Don't worry, Em, I'm taking care of us." But I no longer felt safe under our roof. One afternoon, I followed him again, this time to an abandoned warehouse on the edge of town. Through a cracked window, I watched him talking to the same 2 men. One of them handed him a photograph, and when Nathan held it up to the dim light, my heart stopped cold. It was my photo, my own face staring back at me. I nearly screamed, but I clamped my hand over my mouth. Why would they have my picture? And why was my brother holding on to it like it belonged to him to give away? My legs shook as I ran home before anyone could notice me gone. That night, I lay awake staring at the ceiling, listening to his footsteps outside my door. Every sound felt like a warning. Every silence felt like a trap. In the morning, he looked at me strangely, almost like he knew I'd been watching. He smiled too wide, handed me a cup of tea, and said, "Trust me, sis, everything's going to be fine." A few days later, I ran into my childhood friend, Grace. I told her a little about Nathan's strange behavior, careful not to reveal everything. She leaned in and whispered, "Be careful, Emma. Sometimes the people closest to us are the ones capable of hurting us the most." Her words echoed in my mind like distant thunder. That evening, Nathan came home with new shoes, new clothes, expensive cologne. Where was all this money coming from? We had always struggled to pay our bills, and now, suddenly, he was glowing like a man who'd won the lottery. My suspicion grew, wrapping around me like chains I couldn't shake off. Small things started disappearing from the house: my watch, my grandmother's silver bracelet, cash from my drawer. When I asked Nathan about it, he claimed he'd simply misplaced things. But I knew the truth. He was taking them. I wanted to scream, to fight, but fear held me still. One stormy night, rain hammering against the windows, I heard voices again. I pressed my ear to his door and listened. "Tomorrow night," he whispered, "I'll bring her. You'll get what you paid for." My blood ran cold. I stumbled backward, barely able to breathe. Who was he planning to bring? It could only be me. The next day, he was unusually kind. He cooked breakfast, told me he loved me, asked if I wanted to take a walk that evening. His words felt like poison dressed in sugar. I forced a smile, but inside I was screaming. That afternoon, I packed a small bag, some clothes, the cash I'd hidden away, and Grace's phone number scribbled on a torn piece of paper. If my own brother really planned to sell me, I needed a way out. That night, Nathan knocked on my door. "Ready for our walk?" he asked softly. I forced a nod. The streets were empty, slick with rain. He walked beside me, humming an old tune we used to sing together as kids. It nearly broke my heart all over again, but I remembered the photograph in his hand, the whispers in the dark, and I held on. He led me straight to the abandoned warehouse. My chest tightened. I understood the trap was closing around me. I whispered a quiet prayer in my heart, asking for the strength to face whatever came next. Inside, the two men were already waiting. They smiled coldly, their eyes sliding over me from head to toe. One of them said, "So this is her, Nathan?" He nodded without meeting my gaze. My heart shattered into pieces. My own brother, my own blood, had brought me here to be sold like an object. I stepped back, but the door behind me was already locked. Nathan touched my shoulder and murmured, "Forgive me, Em. I didn't have a choice." His words cut deeper than any blade. My trust in him died right there, in that instant. The men handed Nathan another envelope. He opened it, counted the cash, and smiled. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. My own brother was selling me for money, treating me like nothing more than merchandise. I screamed his name. "Why?" His hands trembled, but he said nothing. The men pulled out rope, ready to tie me down. My heart raced. I kicked over a table, knocking down chairs and boxes in the chaos. Nathan shouted, "Stop her!" I bolted for a broken window, the glass slicing into my palms as I climbed through and dropped into the cold, wet night. My feet bled as I ran through dark streets, footsteps and shouting echoing behind me. I could hear Nathan calling my name, but I didn't stop. I ran until my lungs burned. Until I finally reached Grace's front door. I pounded on it, sobbing, begging for help. She opened it, stunned by the state I was in. I told her everything. Her face went pale. "We have to go to the police," she said. Fear gripped me. Could I really tell the world that my own brother, the boy I grew up beside, had betrayed me in such a cruel, unthinkable way? Grace insisted, and soon we were sitting in a police station. The officers listened, took notes, and promised to investigate. But somewhere deep inside, I still hoped Nathan would change, that maybe this had all been some terrible mistake. Days passed. Police searched the warehouse but found nothing. The men had vanished, and so had Nathan. My heart broke even further. Every night, I stared at the empty chair at our kitchen table, remembering how we used to laugh together, wondering how someone I loved that much could trade me away like a stranger on the street. Weeks later, a letter arrived at Grace's house. No name, just my address. My hands trembled as I opened it. Inside was a short note. "I'm sorry, I had debts. They forced me. Forgive me if you can." It was Nathan's handwriting. My eyes filled with tears. Debts. Forced. Was it true or just another excuse? I didn't know. But I knew one thing for certain: my brother had sold me. The pain of that betrayal cut straight through my soul, leaving scars that I don't think will ever fully heal. Scars that even love couldn't erase. Months passed as I tried to rebuild my life. Grace stayed by my side, helping me find work, helping me find strength again. Still, the memory of Nathan followed me everywhere. Every laugh, every childhood story, every promise we once made, we used to believe our bond was unbreakable. Now it lay in ruins. I often asked myself, if he came back, should I forgive him? Could I? Or should I let him fade away like a ghost from my past? Some nights I swore I heard his voice outside my window, calling my name. But when I looked, there was only shadow, waiting in silence. One rainy evening, walking home from work, I saw a man standing on the corner. He wore a hood pulled low, but I recognized him instantly. My heart stopped. "Nathan," I whispered. He turned. His face was thinner, his eyes filled with regret. He didn't speak. He simply slipped an envelope into my hand and walked away. Inside was money, far more than before, and a note. "I paid off my debt. I'm free now, but I can't face you. I'll always love you, sis." My tears mixed with the rain. He had come back, but not to stay. I never saw Nathan again after that night. Some said he left the city. Others whispered he went back to those men. I never learned the truth. All I knew was that my brother's love had been buried under greed, fear, and betrayal. And yet, some part of me still missed him, the brother who once held my hand as a little girl, who swore he'd protect me forever. That brother was gone, replaced by a man I could barely recognize. And still, I couldn't erase the love I once felt for him. Years later, when I had a small family of my own, my daughter asked me, "Mommy, where's Uncle Nathan?" My heart ached. I smiled sadly and said, "He's very far away." But inside, I wondered if I had done enough to save him. Maybe if I had spoken up sooner. Maybe if I had noticed the signs earlier. Maybe he would still be here beside us. Life taught me a hard truth. Sometimes the people we love most can hurt us the deepest, and their choices can change our lives forever. Even now, I keep Nathan's last letter in my drawer. Sometimes I read it when the nights feel too heavy. His words still cut through my heart. "Forgive me if you can. I don't know if I ever truly will. Forgiveness feels like a mountain too tall to climb, but hatred is heavy too, and I can't carry it forever. I live somewhere between love and anger, between memory and reality. My brother sold me for money, but he also left me with lessons I'll never forget. Trust carefully. Love deeply. And protect yourself, even from the people closest to you." So let me ask you now, whoever is watching, what would you do if your own brother, the person you trusted most in this world, betrayed you for money? Would you forgive him, or would you let him go forever? My story isn't only about betrayal. It's about family, about choices, and about the razor-thin edge of trust. And if my pain stays with you tonight, I hope it reminds you to hold the people you love a little closer. Because sometimes, the people we trust the most are the ones who can hurt us the deepest.